Looking to dominate the sports books in NFL Week 15? Well, my friends, you've come to the right place. Stay tuned for my favorite 6 prop bets for this weekend's NFL slate. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus Bets. What is up, folks? I am your host, the DGen Doc. As always, it's my 6 favorite picks for the Sunday and Monday slate. That is right. This will be releasing on Friday. So obviously, Thursday game is not included. But if you're interested in Thursday night football, I go live every Thursday talking about Thursday night game breakdown, injury analysis, and of course, best bets. Coming off a nice profitable week last week, going 3-6. But of course, when everything is plus money, that means that we do cash, get some profit there. Kirk Cousins coming in at almost a 2-1 there. And Adam Thielen and Jaden Waddle. I took them at 50. I was talking about their ladders. They both got up to 90 yards there. So a very nice day for us last week. And we're hoping to continue the momentum here. Got 6 plays. As always, if you're brand new to the show, first off, welcome. The way this is going to work, I'm going to give out 6 of my favorite bets. They're going to go out from lowest odds to highest odds. Now, spoiler, all of them are plus money. Lowest odds I've got today is a plus 130. The highest odds I've got is a plus 375. I actually got 2 over a 3-1 today. So, spraying the board this week, and I feel really good about it. We got a full 16-game slate, so we have a lot to choose from, which means there's a lot of opportunity out there for us to cash. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first one up, we're going to go with one of the best running backs in the league right now, and that is Mr. Chubahubbard. That's right, Chubahubbard, 1B on the first name there, 90-plus rush yards at plus 130. I mean, look, Chubahubbard, not only is it a great guy to back this year, one of only 6 players in the NFL to be over 1,000 yards right now, but he's going against a great matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. You got the Dallas Cowgirls coming to town after an emotional, brutal loss on Monday Night Football. Not only did they have short rest, but that was an awful way to lose that game, to block a punt and think you were going to be in prime position to beat the Bengals and keep your playoff hopes alive, and boom. Just like that, they lost the game. Someone made a boneheaded play, and now they got to travel to a Carolina where, what do they really have to play for? The Panthers, meanwhile, seem to be playing with their hair on fire, even though they're both likely out of the playoffs here. Carolina's been scrappy, and especially behind Chubahubbard. Now, Chubahubbard, he also does not have to worry about Jonathan Brooks. He has been getting the lion's share of the carries this year, and that's only going to continue. Brooks, unfortunately, tore his ACL again. He's going to be out for the season. So it's going to be the Chuba show early and often. This is a Dallas defense that gives up 142 yards on the ground, almost 5 yards a carry at 4.8 yards a carry. So I love for Chubahubbard to go over 90 yards there at plus 130. All right, next up on the list, we're going to go with Mr. laddmcconkey to have 80-plus receiving yards at plus 135. So we have the Los Angeles Chargers are heading down to sunny Tampa Bay, where they're going to take they'll be playing at home in LA. The Buccaneers will be traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers. And last week, the Chargers, their offense was missing. And a huge reason for that, especially in the first half, is laddmcconkey. I mean, he has become the Chargers offense, especially through the passing game. He has really been leading the lion's share of the targets. Justin Herbert trusts him. And you're going up against a Tampa Bay secondary that's already given up 253 yards on the year. And things are likely getting worse. Both starting safeties are going to be out this game. You have safety Jordan Whitehead already on the IR with a pec injury. And then Antoine Winfield, the leader of that backfield, he is going to be out for several weeks with a knee injury. So you have, Whitehead's already been out. You have Winfield, who is going to join him on the sideline. So you have both your starting safeties out. You have a backup currently not practicing right now. And this secondary's already been bad. So you have a bad unit that is now going to be banged up. I love laddmcconkey here. I think he's going to get a ton of targets. He's hit this in 3 of his last games that he's played. He's getting healthier, coming back into practice. And again, a wonderful matchup for him and Justin Herbert to take advantage of. So give me laddmcconkey 80 plus receiving yards at plus 135. Next up on the list, we are going to Hot Atlanta to talk about Mr. Jakobi Meyers. So we have the Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Jakobi Meyers here. This is going to be played in Las Vegas, at the Dome there in Allegiant Stadium at the Starship, so we don't have to worry about weather. I'm going Jakobi Meyers, 80 plus receiving yards at plus 210 there. Look, Brock Bowers is the number 1 receiving threat in that offense, but the number 1 wide receiver is Jakobi Meyers. He is the leading wide receiver for this team. And he is getting a huge amount of the target share when it comes to wide receivers. Yes, you definitely will get Brock Bowers in there, but him and Aidan O'Connell seem to be having some good chemistry. Aidan O'Connell only dealing with a bone bruise after originally thinking it was a significant knee injury. He should be able to play this week. And you have Jakobi Meyers, who's going up against the Atlanta defense that is not good against the wide receiver. I mean, we saw what Sam Darnold and Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson just did to them. I mean, Darnold putting up 5 touchdowns, throwing for over 300 yards. They've let a wide receiver get over 80 plus receiving yards in 3 out of the last 4 games. The only game they did not, Courtland Sutton had 78 yards. So obviously very close there. I like Jakobi Meyers to get this in his targets. I like him to have plenty of targets, and I like him to be force-fed against the Atlanta secondary that's very shaky. And let's be honest, this should be a decent amount of points this game. Kirk Cousins, he's throwing the ball all over the field effectively. He's just throwing it to both teams, right? So you're going to have a bit of a shootout environment. You're playing in a dome. I like Jakobi Meyers to really set the tone here and have, something like 10, 11 targets and about 90 yards. So give me Jakobi Meyers, 80 plus receiving yards at plus 210. All right, folks, that's 3 out of the 6 props, which means we are halfway there, which also means I got to tell you about some of the great things we got going over here at IDP Plus. First of all, join up for a membership. Get an IDP Plus subscription. There's different levels to it, and no matter what level you sign up for, I can get you 20% off right now with promo code PROPS. So sign up for IDP Plus membership. You can get access to tools, data, specific articles only to our subscribers and our subscriber Discord. That's right. Every week I write an article focused around the defense. How can the biggest injuries in the NFL affect IDP fantasy, affect the defensive side of the ball, whether it be props or the fantasy where I'm there. We've also got a promotion going on with Fanduel. That's right. Get $50 in bonus bets when you deposit $10 at idpplus.com/Fanduel. And don't worry, we don't discriminate because at idpplus.com/DraftKings, get $50 in bonus bets when you deposit $50. All right, folks, let's get back to it with prop number 4. And prop number 4 is coming at a nice, juicy price because we've got Brian Robinson to have 100 plus rushing yards at plus 240. You have the Commanders who are coming off the bye. They're coming, they're getting healthier as a team, and they're trying to make a playoff push. I mean, they're sitting there with 8 wins squarely in the wild card right now. This is a big game. It's a conference game. You got to make sure you secure the W against a bad New Orleans Saints team who still thinks they have a chance for the playoff. This is a Saints team that they just lost their starting quarterback in Derek Carr. So you have to imagine that it's going to be hard for them to keep up with this Commanders offense. The way I see this game going, I think the Commanders handle them and they get out to an early lead and they really lean on Brian Robinson to kind of salt this game away. He's done well in these games where they've put up a bit of a beating on the other team. We can just go back to last week where they put a 40-point burger on the Tennessee Titans, and Brian Robinson went over this number. He's hit it 3 times this season, especially again in blowouts. But New Orleans also gives him a great matchup. They're giving up 134 yards on the ground and 5 yards per carry, which is insane. So it's not only the fact that they're just getting beat by volume. I mean, 5 yards a carry, that is not very good. And I have a feeling that Brian Robinson is going to get a lot of carries in a game where I don't relatively see it being very close. So I really like Brian Robinson, 100 plus yards at plus 240. All right, next up, we are going to another running back, but maybe one a little bit less known. And that is Mr. Justice Hill. the RB2 for the Baltimore Ravens there. Look, Ravens traveling up to New York to take on the New York Football Giants. The Ravens are also coming off a bye. They're looking to get right and make that final playoff push, potentially for the AFC North, but definitely to try to secure a spot on the wild card. So this is an important game for them. New York Giants, meanwhile, what do they have to play for? I mean, it's going to be Tommy DeVito. I don't expect much from this offense at all. The spread right now has, it's Baltimore minus 16. No one's really projecting this to be close. So what happens in blowouts? Well, obviously, I think Derrick Henry is going to get his. His numbers are a lot higher, a lot more juiced. But the RB2 gets involved. The end of the game, they get some carries. I'm going Justice Hill, 50 plus rushing receiving yards at plus 320. Justice Hill is a guy who is a very capable of threat out of the backfield. Simply put, I mean, he's been torching teams out of the backfield. He's also a very capable runner. This is a good offensive line. We're going up against a Giants defense where they just put safety Tyler Nubin, the leading tackler on the team, on the IR. Their best linebacker, Bobby Okereke, is not practicing due to back injury. Their best player on the team, Dexter Lawrence, is out for the year with an elbow dislocation. They're beat up all over the place. So give me Justice Hill to take advantage of a blowout and to get 50-plus rushing receiving yards at a nice plus 320 there. And then finally, our official long shot of the week, and it is only fitting that it is in the hands of Mr. Famous Jameis Winston. Give me Jameis Winston, 300-plus passing yards at plus 375. I mean, how can you not want to bet on Jameis? This man is absolutely electric to watch. And he's got a very funny kind of, game script here. So ever since he became the starter against Baltimore there, he threw for 300 plus yards, and then he kind of had, a stinker at 235. And then the next game, he threw for over 300 yards, almost 400 yards at 395. And then he kind of had a stinker at 200 yards in the game. And then the following week, he threw for almost 500 yards against the Broncos, 497, and then followed up with a stinker the following week. So it's, ever since he started, he goes 300-yard game, then not. 300-yard game, then not. 300-yard game, and we had the not last week. So history would tell us that Jameis is going to eclipse 300 yards today at a plus 375. I love the price. And look, it's not just about that trend. Obviously, Jameis has no fear in letting the ball fly down the field. Also, he's got a good matchup. When we think of the Chiefs, especially in the past few years, we think of them as having a great defense, especially a very strong secondary. Now, you still have Trent McDuffie and a couple of those guys there. But when Jalen Watson went out, this defense changed a little bit. They were not nearly as good. They were not as versatile. Jalen Watson was a huge piece for them. So, they're giving up around 222 yards a game already. But this is Jameis we're talking about. I think he's going to be able to have his way down the field. Now, of course, he's going to have some turnovers, and, we'll know who knows what team he's throwing in touchdowns to. But from a yardage perspective, whether it's Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore's coming on, fortunately, it doesn't look like David Njoku is going to be able to give it a go. But Cedric Tillman is back at practice. He was one of Jameis's go-to guys. So, I think he's got three capable wide receivers going against a Kansas City Chiefs secondary that, frankly, is just not that good this year. Especially with no Jalen Watson. They're kind of adjusting to life after him, and they've been getting up some games. So give me, and just to really hammer this home, they just gave up over 300 yards to Aiden O'Connell. So I think Jameis is going to blow this number out of the water there. Give me Jameis Winston, 300-plus passing yards at plus 375. All right, folks, those are the 6 bets that I love the most this week. So let's do a quick recap, and then let's get out of here. All right, so we're going to go with Panthers running back Chubahubbard, 90-plus rush yards at plus 130. LaddmcConkey, 80-plus rush yards at plus 135. Jakobimeyers, 80-plus receiving yards at plus 210. You've got Brian Robinson Jr., 100-plus rush yards at plus 240. Justice Hill, 50-plus rush and receiving yards at plus 320. And finally, Mr. Famous Jameis Winston, 300 plus passing yards at plus 375, folks. So we've got some long odds on this card here. Obviously means, hey, we only got to hit a couple to be profitable, and the more we hit, could be potentially a very nice payday here in week 15. All right, folks, if you enjoyed what you heard, if you learned something, if you got a bet you want to tell, go ahead and do me a favor and like and subscribe as a new channel. We appreciate every like, every subscription. It means a lot to us. We appreciate it. Feel free to comment any feedback that you got for me. Any bets you like, you don't like, we can go ahead and debate it in the chat there. But hey, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show. Enjoy a full slate of NFL football here in week 15. And because I have to say it before I go Army, beat Navy. All right, folks, from the DGen Doc here at IDP Plus, I am out of here.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.